pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I apologize. I was handling a citizen outside.
All right, we'd like to welcome our guests tonight. We have our Boy Scouts, and I apologize, I am not sure which group this is. 222. And y'all are here for your leadership in the community badge, correct? Well, thank you all for coming. We appreciate you being here tonight. Do we have any public participation? No public participation. Okay, moving on down the agenda.
I just want to pass this along. It was one public participation. That's the one I was working on.
Okay.
She is not going to be able to stay, but I've explained that we're not going to be able to read this. But I do want to note it that she wanted to be on public participation. So if we can kind of handle that.
Okay, so just pass it to her. Okay, so okay. Superintendent Fuhrer will handle that. All right. Next is approval of our agenda.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda on item Q, and that's for a 1-year extension of the superintendent's contract.
All right, we have a motion to amend our agenda item Q.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. The the agenda has been amended. All right. Next is approval of our minutes. Do we have a motion to approve our minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, superintendent's reports. Dr. Lockhart.
Yes, Madam Chair. Operations report, business and finance. Newton County School System Supplies 4 distribution is $880,830.74, which is a decrease of $6,813.67 from last month's collection. The average for the first 5 months of Supplies 4 collection is $872,959. The monthly average for Supplies 3 was $881,483. The May TAVT collection was $76,485.50. At this time, we're still closing the fiscal year of 2015. We must accrue July and August tax collections into the year as well as July and August payroll expenses for 10 and 11-month employees. The budgeted beginning balance for FY 2016 is $22,930,857. At this time, it appears that we will finish the year with more than this amount. Maintenance and operations. Maintenance received 935 work requests in June 2015, with 775 having been completed. There are 160 remaining work orders in progress. School transportation. The average per gallon cost for diesel fuel purchased during June was $2.21. Just a few items from school nutrition. Item 1, school nutrition program served 1.2 million breakfast meals during the 2015 school year. That's over 35% of the students ate breakfast at school. Item 2, 2.6 million students ate lunches were served through the school nutrition program over the 2015 school year. That's an average participation rate of 77.5%. I want to draw your attention to item number 5. School nutrition program formed a partnership with Action Ministries as part of their Smart Lunch, Smart Kid program. Volunteers with Action Ministries transported summer meals on Monday through Wednesday from Newton High School to the 12 school locations. SMP hopes to increase the number of meals served next summer through our continued relationship with Action Ministries. The final item I'd like to share with the operations report is item 7. Middle Ridge Elementary School has been awarded the USDA Fresh Fruits and Vegetables Grant for the 6th year. Grants were awarded to schools with at least 84% of students receiving free and reduced price meals. And that concludes the operations report.
All right. Any questions for the operations report from our board members? there are none, we'll move on to curriculum, instruction, and technology.
Yes, Madam Chair. Two items to bring to your attention in this month's CIT report. The first is Newton County Schools partner with Camp Invention to host a summer STEM camp for elementary students June 8th through the 12th, 2015. Oak Hill teacher Miranda Reese served as the camp director, and Ms. Benson and Ms. Clark, also from Oak Hill, served as teachers for the week. Additionally, 2 STEM Institute students from NCCA worked as interns to ensure the camp's success. It was another strong program that again features the strong STEM programs that we are creating here in Newton County. The other item I'd like to draw to your attention, Newton College and Career Academy was recognized for finishing in 3rd place for the MOS State Championship in the area of MS Word 2010. This recognition is based on student performance on the Microsoft Office Specialist Certification exams administered to students. So again, even during the summer, we're trying to make sure that our students are getting college and career readiness preparation. That concludes the CIT report.
All right, any questions? Do I have a motion to accept our superintendent's reports?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We have no old business, so moving on to our new business. Item A, Miss Erica Robinson.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The superintendent recommends the adoption of the FY16 millage rates as follows. The M&O millage rate 20 mils, the debt service millage rate 0 for a total millage of 20. And a little bit of background, the millage rate for M&O will remain the same and is more than the rollback millage rate of 18.991. The M&O millage rate may not exceed 20 mils by law. The debt service millage rate will be lowered to 0 mils as we'll be using SPLOST 4 funds to help pay the principal and interest on our bonds. The total combined millage rate will be 20 mils, which is less than it has been for the last 5 years. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions from our board members? All right. Then do we have a motion to approve item A?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Item B, Dr. Thomas.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The superintendent recommends the purchase of Brain Pop subscription for $30,168 for 18 Title I schools from Novation Incorporated. Brain Pop is an online program that creates animated, curriculum-based contents to support educators and engage students. Brain Pop can be used at school or at home. This resource includes movies, quizzes, experiments, timelines, activities, and it covers an array of topics to include math, science, social studies, English language arts, technology, arts, and music, and health. And all content is aligned to and searchable by the state standards. This subscription would include Brain Pop Junior, which covers K through 2, Brain Pop grades 3 through 8, and Brain Pop ESOL. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? All right, do we have a motion for item B?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor of approving item B? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item C, Ms. Buff.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The superintendent recommends the following parent representatives as board of directors for the Newton College and Career Academy be approved. Alcobie High School, Lynn Bugg. Eastside High School, Mike McCrory. Newton High School, Timothy Reed. Some background, the Newton College and Career Academy received its original charter on March 11, 2010. These representatives were chosen in conjunction with high school principals to serve as long as their students attend the Newton College and Career Academy. The Board of Directors will assume responsibility for the Newton College and Career Academy on August 1st, 2015, if approved.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Board members, okay. Do we have a motion to approve item C?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Berry has items D through H, I believe that's correct.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The superintendent recommends that policy JCDAE be replaced with the revised policy JCDAE. This policy action will be reviewed in July and August with recommended changes acted on by the board in September. A background: upon consultation with legal counsel, it's been determined that policy JCDAE dealing with weapons has outdated language and no longer meets the requirements outlined in Georgia law 16-11-121. Georgia State Board of Education rule, therefore, that it should be revised and replaced with policy JCDAE, which includes the updated reporting requirements. And if you, just as a quick update, the changes in that policy will be what we're required to report to law enforcement, and that's related to if a weapon is used in an assault or if it's multiple offenses on weapons. And you'll see that in the changes.
All right. Are there any questions for Mr. Berry on item D? And we will not be taking a vote. This will lay on the table for review until our September meeting. All right, if there are no questions, we will move on to item E.
Next item, the superintendent recommends that policy JCDAG be replaced with the revised policy JCDAG. These policy actions will be reviewed in July and August, and recommended changes will be requested by the board in September. Background: upon consulting with legal counsel, it's been determined that policy JCDAG dealing with bullying has outdated language and no longer meets the requirements outlined in Georgia law 20-2-751.4, Georgia State Board of Education rule, therefore, and Georgia State Education rule. Therefore, it should be revised and replaced with policy JDAG, which includes a revised definition of cyberbullying. Policy JCDAG has been designed to reflect necessary requirements to meet the law.
All right, are there any questions on item E? All right, moving on. Again, this one, we will not be voting on any of the items D, E, F, G, and H tonight, just for further clarification.
The next item is related to policy JGCD, which to be replaced and revised by policy JGCD. It's hard to get all those. And you'll see there's a typo in the memo because of that, because they're just all over the place. Upon consultation, and this again, as you said, will be acted upon in September and be reviewed through July and August. Upon consultation with legal counsel, it's been determined that JGCD dealing with medication is outdated, has outdated language, and no longer meets the requirements of Georgia law 20-2-776.3 and Georgia State Board of Education rule. Therefore, it should be revised and replaced with the new policy JGCD, which includes authorization for school personnel to administer levalbuterol, if I pronounced that correctly, sulfate to students perceived respiratory distress, whether or not the student has a prescription for the medication. Policy JGCD has been revised to reflect necessary requirements to meet that law.
All right, questions? All right, moving on.
Superintendent recommends that policy JGI be replaced with the revised policy JGI. These policy actions will be reviewed again in July and August with recommended changes acted on by the board in September. Upon consultation with legal counsel, it's been determined that policy JGI dealing with child abuse and neglect has outdated language and no longer meets the requirements outlined in Georgia law 19-7-5 and Georgia State Board rule. Therefore, it should be revised and replaced with policy JGI, which includes the updated reporting phrase. Policy JGI has been revised to reflect necessary requirements to meet the law.
All right, any questions? All right, item H.
Item H is actually the introduction of a new policy. The others are replacements and revisions of old policies. Superintendent recommends that policy JGJA be added to Newton County Board of Education Policy Manual. This policy action will be reviewed in July and August with recommended changes acted on by the board in September. background, upon consultation with legal counsel, it's been determined that policy JGJA, dealing with suicide prevention, be added to the board policies outlined in Georgia Law 20-2-779 and Georgia State Board of Education Rule. Therefore, policy JGJA, which includes required annual training for all certificated personnel regarding suicide prevention and postvention, it says in the law, is the policy JGJA has been drafted based on necessary requirements to meet the law.
All right, any questions for, about item H? Great. I believe that is your last one. Thank
That's
you,
it.
Ms. Ware. Ms. Lumens, I believe you have item I.
Good evening. The superintendent recommends the annually renewable contract for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning services awarded to air conditioning specialist of Covington, Georgia, be renewed for an additional contract term. The effective date will be July the 22nd, 2015, and the expiration date will be July 21st, 2016. The contract was originally awarded July the 22nd, 2014. The vendor has performed satisfactorily, met all contractual requirements, and has agreed to continue their service under the current terms and conditions of the contract. The estimated annual value of this contract is $420,000. This cost will be paid for with budgeted FY16 general funds. This concludes item I.
All right, any questions? If there are none, do we have a motion to approve item I?
So move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Mr. Barr, I believe you have the next two items.
In item J, the superintendent recommends the adoption of the attached contract for membership in the Griffin-Risa Educational Service Agency. Each year, the Board of Education approves a contract and enters into an agreement with Griffin-Risa for supplementary services. All school systems are assigned one of 16 RISAs in the state. The contract includes basic membership, repair services, and other services identified in your memo. The total cost of the contract is $178,437.12 and will be paid for with budgeted FY16 funds. And that concludes item J.
All right, any questions, board members? If there are none, do I have a motion to approve item J?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, item K.
In item K, the superintendent recommends the identified items be declared surplus and disposed of per board policy DO. And that concludes item K.
All right, are there any questions? If there are none, do I have a motion to approve item K?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, Mr. Barr.
Thank you.
Ms. Lumens, I believe you have item L.
Item L, the superintendent recommends the annual renewable contract awarded to the Automated Logic Corporation of Kennesaw, Georgia for the maintenance of the school system's facility automation system be renewed for an additional contract period. The contract is for the current 2015-2016 school year. As a little bit of background, the Automated Logic Corporation provides a maintenance contract for all of the components of the facility automation system used at the schools and facilities within the school system. The vendor provides regular inspections as well as service and maintenance on equipment as required. The equipment allows remote access to and manipulation of HVAC and boiler temperature controls within buildings, timer settings on outside lighting, as well as monitoring temperatures and walk-in coolers and freezers. The total cost will be $42,120. This cost will be paid for with budgeted FY16 general funds. This concludes item L.
Any questions for Ms. Lumens? If there are none, do I have a motion to approve item L?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 All right, thank you. Item M is Dr. Shattuck. I believe you've got M and N.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Ms. Fury, Madam Chairwoman, ladies and gentlemen of the board.
Item N is the superintendent recommends the educational software and products needed for a school system be purchased from Safari Montage of West Cohashaken, Pennsylvania. Safari Montage is the developer and the seller of digital media and their distribution. They have a wide variety of units and systems that make learning much more fun because of the digital media content available. They use this, there is over 7,000 different videos that are available through this system for students, the teachers to access to show with their students. They also have a managed home access component, which allows students to watch these videos at home. In addition to that, they have other systems that allow for this digital media to be shown in the classrooms. This contract has been awarded through the PEPM, a nationally recognized cooperative purchasing organization. The total cost is $33,174.07, and this will be paid for out of budgeted FY16 funds.
Okay. Any questions for about item M? If there are none, do I have a motion to approve item M?
So move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair,
Uh-huh.
I'll have to abstain on that particular vote.
On item N? Okay, thank you. All right, N, please.
Item N, the superintendent recommends the interactive video conferencing system needed for the school system be purchased from Safari Montage of West Cohashaken, Pennsylvania. Safari Montage is a comprehensive suite of products like we saw in item M, and one of their products is the video distribution system called Safari Montage Live. It is an interactive video conferencing system that can be used for a variety of purposes, including AP courses, professional learning, distance learning, virtual courses, etc. We plan on using it when we start teaching our virtual courses that we're going to start piloting either in the spring or in the fall next year. This product was competitively purchased through the PEPM, the National Cooperative Purchasing Organization. This is a one-time cost. There will be maintenance fees on out years, but the total package is a one-time cost right now. It's $79,008.88, and this is paid for out of the budgeted FY16 general fund budget.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on this item? If there are none, do we have a motion to approve item N?
So move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Dr. Shattuck.
Thank you.
Dr. Lockhart, item O.
Item O, authorization for superintendent to employ transfer staff. The superintendent requests that she be authorized to employ transfer staff during the first month of school as enrollment and class size equity within the district demands. Although the State Board of Education has waived all regular education class size rules for the upcoming year, the district is committed to maintaining K-12 class sizes as we have previously. However, the growth in the county school-age population may not always occur within established limits. If class sizes exceed the maximum outlined, teachers may need to be added. If more teachers are employed than needed at one school, then classes are collapsed and teachers are transferred. This also holds true for paraprofessionals, and that is item O.
Any questions about item O? If there are none, do we have a motion to approve this item?
So move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Ms. Superintendent Fury?
Yes.
You have item P.
I do. I recommend that the local board governance annual report be completed as required by the Georgia Department of Education. As background information, yearly training requirements are set forth by the Georgia Department of Education for local school board members and superintendents. Approved training sessions by approved trainers are offered during the school year on a variety of topics, and also at the Georgia School Board Association Winter Conference and the Georgia School Board Association Summer Conference. Required fees may be associated with such trainings. A record of the completed training will be recorded with the Georgia Department of Education at the end of the school year. And so, just as a point of record, all of our board members have satisfied the requirement of their annual training. Each of our board members, with the exception of Mr. Edwards, has earned the 9 credit hours required in order to serve on a local board of education. Mr. Edwards, being a new member to the board, was required to pursue 15 hours, and he has accomplished those hours. So the request that you approve that we complete this report and send it to the Department of Education.
All right, any questions? There are none. Do we have a motion to approve item P?
So move.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right. Dr. Lockhart, you have our last item on the agenda, item Q.
Yes, ma'am. Item Q, the superintendent requested the board approve the personnel recommendations made during executive session with the amendment made during open session.
All right. Any questions? There are none. Do we have a motion on the floor to approve this item?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right. Other matters of interest?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have a couple of items. The first being that we received notification that Ms. Tammy Privet has been selected by the Georgia Library Media Association and the Georgia Association of Instructional Technology as the Library Media Specialist of the Year for the South Metro District. The statewide Georgia Library Media Specialist of the Year winner will be announced in October. So Ms. Privet will go enter in that round of competition, and we're confident that she's going to be the state winner. Please join me in congratulating Ms. Privet. We'll invite her. Once we get back into work, we'll invite her to participate in a board meeting and officially recognize her for that distinctive honor. A couple of things. One, open houses will begin next week. And for the record, open house for our high schools will be July the 28th from 5 to 7 p.m. July the 29th will be open house for elementary schools from 5 to 7 p.m. And open house for middle schools will be on July the 30th from 5 to 7 p.m. And this marks a return to having open houses for different grade spans on different days. So our families are able to get to, if you have a child in kindergarten and a child in middle school and a child in high school, you're able to attend all of the open houses with them on different nights. So we're grateful that we were able to make that happen. And finally, the first day of school for all of our students is July the 31st, Friday, July 31st.
All right.
That is.
All right. If there is nothing else, do we have a motion to adjourn for this evening's meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.